Hi, welcome back to my channel. I have a book review for you today for Out of the Clear Blue Sky by Kristan Higgins. This, I believe, is the first book that I have read by her, and it looks like a beautiful summer read just by looking at the cover, which I will put up now. And it's a women's fiction, but it's also a second chance romance, and it is kind of like a rom-com. So it's a great mix of those three things. Now, it starts off, with a little bit of a sad note because we have Lily Silver, who's about to face an empty nest for more than one reason. The main reason is her son's about to go off to college. But more than that, her husband tells her that he's leaving her. He's leaving her for another woman. And the thing is, he tells her this, I think, either one day or 1 week before their son graduates high school. So she's looking forward to a beautiful vacation that she has planned for the two of them when their son goes off to college. And when she's about to share that news with him, the news that he shares with her is adios, au revoir, arrivederci, goodbye. Well, she's not taking that lying down, is she? No, she's not. Well, what happens here? Now, let's talk a little bit about Lily. Lily is a nurse midwife. She splits her time between her job as a nurse and her job as a midwife, always ready at the drop of a dime for any mother that's about to go into labor. Now, she kind of goes off the deep end when her husband leaves her, like releasing a skunk into his new home or attending his wedding as the angel of death. Well, let's talk a little bit about what her husband happens into. The woman that her husband leaves her for, in all actuality, Lily coincidentally introduced to her husband, his husband's new wife. She introduced the lady to her, and the woman, she has a step niece. Well, she has a niece that she's raising like a daughter, which means that her husband will be a stepfather of sorts. And then a little bit more about Lily is she has a sister. I believe her sister's name is Hannah. And when when Lily was 12 and Hannah was about 15, their parents split up. And not only did the parents split up, but the sisters split up. One stayed with the mother, one stayed with the father. So now at this turning point in Lily's life, she needs support. And surprisingly, despite the drama that she had with her sister when they were separated as teens or preteens, they start to get close in this stage of her life. Oh, I'm sorry, my laptop shut off. I thought my phone was shutting off. So she's drawn herself closer to her sister, which is a real blessing to her. And then there's another thing that I like about this book. The fact that it's set on Cape Cod. Now, I'm a Bostonian, and I've been to the Cape a million times, and the Cape is a beautiful, beautiful place. So I like that setting. As a matter of fact, this is, I believe, the third book in the last week and a half that has been set on the Cape. So I really like that. Now, even though there is like an emotional edge to this book with Lily feeling brokenhearted with her husband. His name is Brad, by the way. I don't think I've mentioned his name. With her husband leaving her and the woman that he left her for being a younger woman and all of that, there were very light moments in this book. And one of those things that I personally found kind of light was the woman that Brad chose to leave Lily for and to marry. And so it's at this point that the book not just gives us Lily's point of view, but Brad's new wife's point of view and how she was raised and how she changed her life. And I don't know if I want to say this because I don't want to give a spoiler, but she was a card, okay? Brad's new wife was a card, Okay. In fact, years and years and years ago, 40 years ago, I had a job at Chicago Title and Trust Company. And my boss, Keith, had a plan. He had a life plan. When he was 30, he was going to do this. When he was 35, he was going to do that. When he was 40, he was going to do that. So as he was approaching the age of 30, he had to get married because it was his life plan. So he chose and he got married. Then by 35, he had to have his first child. So this character that Brad married made me think of Keith, and it's been over 40 years because she had a life plan, and she set that life plan in motion, and that included stealing Brad from Lily. So that's where the story kind of is a little bit humorous, even though her history could be considered, is, and was quite sad. And then the fact that I wish I could remember her name. I'm just going to what was her name? I'm thinking okay. Melissa. Okay, Melissa. I just had to okay. Melissa came from very difficult circumstances. And this is why she had this life plan that reminded me of one of my bosses from when I was like 18 or 19. Because of where she came from, it reflected the relationship that she had with her niece based on the relationship she had with her sister. So her niece played a big role in this book. And I kept thinking and thinking and thinking that Melissa would be redeemable. I kept hoping and hoping and hoping that she would be redeemable. Now, that's where the book takes like a turn like this, because you've got all of Lily and her point of view and her second chance. His name is Ben Hallowell, by the way. Who is Ben Hallowell, and why is that considered a second chance in this book that crosses genres? Keep that thought in mind for a second. But then it segues over to Melissa, her childhood, the fact that she is now raising her niece, why she's raising her niece, and how she gets Brad and what happens in their marriage. But if we go back to Lily on this side, because the story shifts, you have Melissa's point of view. You have Lily's point of view. You have Melissa's point of view. So when you shift back to Lily's point of view, you see how she knew Ben Hallowell, Lily's relationship with her father, and why there's a chance that she might be able to have a romance, even though it was the last thing that she expected. So all of that put together, what am I going to say? 5 stars for sure. I really loved it. First of all, I love any book that crosses genres. That's always intriguing to me because it gives you a lot of meat. I also love being introduced to an author that I have not read before. And I also love the fact that what goes around comes around, and that's what you're going to find in this book. So this is a very long book review. Sorry for doing that to you, but thank you for watching. Bye-bye.